Welcome to Voice of Reason.
Just as we know that insecurity is one of the main challenges confronting Nigeria at this time, and so the nation, individuals, organizations, socio-political, socio-cultural alike are in search of a solution to these particular problem confronting Nigeria at this time, which is insecurity. And so on the program this evening, I have an expert, a retired general in the Nigerian military. My guest on the program this evening served as a commander of the Special Task Force Operation Safe Haven in Jos is retired General Henry Ayoola. A very good evening, sir. Thank you so much for your time on the program.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
What will you regard as the primary causes of Nigeria's security challenges at this time?
Thank you very much. I'm happy you say primary causes because we want to start at it. Let's look at it from the roots, from the root causes. Primary in the sense that the underlying issues. Okay, the first I'll talk about is what I will call a disarticulate security architecture. I've had a lot of people talk about security architecture. It's been bandied as some fresh concept in recent times. But what I see we have really, I will call it a default rather than a deliberately designed architecture. Because ordinarily, a security architecture should actually start from the grand strategic level. As where policies are made, from policies to strategies, and of course the accompanying structures, and then of course institutions. Then you have processes, procedures, and routines and drills for doing everything, down to the lowest level of in the tactical level. That's what it should be. And I know for us, I haven't been part of this. I've been in this for about 50 years of my life. So either as a tangential participant, as a boy soldier in the military school in Zaire, as a trainer, as a student, as a keen observer, and as an active participant. So all through those 50 years, I've gone through that, and I know that there has been an evolution through the years.
A case of Nigeria not having some of these strategies in place. Is it a case of Nigeria as a country developing these strategies late? That's why we have the security challenges at this time.
Actually, by the document, it's due for review every 5 years.
Okay.
That's usually stated in the document itself. So that's okay. We've done well as far as that is concerned. Where we need to work harder, obviously, is the review in the face of emerging threats, emerging and foreseeable and contemporary threats. All of those must be kept in focus to necessitate the further review. And then of course, it's not just the review of the document alone, the update of the capacity of the security sector as a whole, the equipment and state of the art gadgets that are available. Because everything goes together. It's not just the document in isolation. It must go pari passu with the capacity of the security sector, the equipment available to them, the technology available to them, the update on those. All of those come together to update it. That's why I say we need a more deliberate design that will be updated more regularly as the challenges we require.
Would you say that as a country we are fighting this insecurity the way we ought to fight it?
What has taken us aback really is maybe we didn't have sufficient foresight, if you like, in terms of our assessment of future tasks or future threats. Let's even start from threats, future threats. Because at the time, if you remember when the military left the leadership scene of the nation, 1999. Or the natural tendency to say, the military has been away from their primary duty, let them just face that and leave politics alone, which is good, which we are enjoying it. But that would have been a good time to also review what are likely to be future tasks, future threats, and what kind of war do we see our armed forces fighting the next 10, 15, 20 years, 25 years. That's our nation's plan. And then you then look at what kind of a keeping policy you need to come out, future, looking at that future. And then so you begin to re-equip your military accordingly. If you look at the defense budget, what is important is the capital vote, There's the capital expenditure, the vote put on that is less than 15%. It's just about 13 point something percent of the current budget. And it has never been better than that, even the previous budget. And because people don't really get the proper picture to know that military equipment are very expensive. Oh, you saw the other time we got the president, put aside $1 billion. All we were able to buy with that is just the Tucano planes.
What preventive measures do you think Nigeria can come up with at this time to stem the tide of insecurity?
Yeah, I love that question. When you say preventive measure, it means things we could have done preemptively or upfront, which some of them may look too late now. But well, it's never too late as long as it can have some effect, at least a palliative effect, if nothing at all. Yeah, like I started by talking about security architecture. If that had been put in place before these challenges, started happening, then we would have been able to test the robustness and resilience and sustainability of such a system, an entire security system. And because every nation goes through that kind of test, and at the end of the day, it's able to now tell you either what you have put in place is sufficiently resilient to withstand such stress. Now, because what we had, like I said, is a default, security architecture, hence, it's not able to stand in the face of such tests. But it's never late. There are lessons to be learned. Every nation learns lessons from every encounter, every situation the nation goes through, so that subsequently you get to do those things better. Now, why I say it's self-inflicted, that more often than not, we don't learn sufficient lessons in our own case. We find that things we've been doing since the 60s, we still do them as if we are doing them for the first time. As if we've not learned anything all the while for all the number of years we have done them.
There is this impression that a particular sect, a particular ethnic group in the country is responsible for the crime that we have. What will you say about this?
That's a very tricky and touchy area. Strictly speaking, there are bad eggs everywhere, whether ethnic or tribal or religion. There are bad eggs everywhere. But personally, I don't believe in typology, labeling anybody based on a few bad elements or bad eggs. But when it goes beyond that, in Yoruba we talk about omoluabi ethos, where even your own parents will bring you out and cane you for delinquency, for a bad behavior. Even though, in fact, I remember in those days that if somebody comes on to report you to your parents, just to make that person really feel justified, your parents will beat you in his presence before he leaves, so that he knows that he did a good job, rather than condoning it. So condoning bad behavior is actually one of those things when I say self-inflicted. Now, so if the elders of any group at all know that your children are being accused of so thing, and you do nothing to show the rest of the world that you are not condoning it, then of course people will be justified to insinuate such.
Okay, so what are we doing wrongly as a nation?
I think the start point is for us as a nation, for all of us to be on the same page. You are not too sure what you see as some aggravated security situation is being seen by another person as maybe an advancement of his own cause or his own interest. That's a major problem we have. We have a clash of aspiration, clash of vision, clash of civilization, clash of culture, of course, clash of interest. And that is plaguing us in all directions. So you find, I experienced that even as a commander in the field, where you have an assignment to do and the operation you want to carry out is in a sector and you don't trust the commander in that sector. And you send a different commander to go and operate in the sector because you are not sure that the information will not filter to the enemy.
2023 is coming. We're preparing for elections. How conducive is the environment security-wise for this election? Do you think it is wise for us to keep on preparing without solving some of the security problems that we have?
Okay, thank you very much. I think you actually answered it when you gave the example of 2015, 2019. In fact, as 2015, this fear was there too, that will the election hold or not?
And the nation had to postpone it.
Yeah, and
for about 2 weeks.
Well, even the postponement, if you remember, was not because of security issue, really. There were some other issues. So the point I'm making in essence is that Nigeria has passed through that kind of phase severally, where it will look that it's heating up, and no smoke happens. We've gone through that a number of times. It's as if when it comes to time of election, the bad boys themselves recognize it,
and so it first the suspicion again that maybe some of the security challenges have political undertone.
Yeah, security and political issues are inherently intertwined. In fact, more of it, if you look at the insurgency, for example, it's more of a political problem than a security problem. When I got to the plateau in 2012, I remember I was so determined to say that I should be the last commander of that operation, that I would solve the problem to the end. I was super determined. I was working my heart out, barely sleeping for 3 to 4 hours in the day. Sometimes I'm still in the office at 12 midnight, but as I got to understand the issues better, I saw that it was not a security problem. It was not. You can do all the security, deploy all the security solutions. If a problem has a political undertone, it can only be finally and decisively be solved by political means.
Okay, so on politics being involved on the part of the people here, or on the part of those who should provide leadership?
See, it's inherently so. That's why Karl von Clausewitz says that war is the continuation of policy by other means. Or Chamama even puts in a more pungent way that war is politics with bloodshed, while politics is war without bloodshed. So politics and crisis or war have always been intertwined. It's not today. Yeah.
Do you know you said something?
But you see, the willingness, the political will, the strength of the political will to solve a particular problem, to deal decisively with it, to bring it to an end, is where the difference is.
You made reference during the course of this interview to what happened in 1999 when we had a change of guard, from the khaki boys to the civilians. Was any mistake made at that time that this nation is still suffering from? Hijacking power, not forcefully, taking over power, this winners take it all attitude by the civilians. Is it affecting, is it telling on the nation at this time? Is there anything we didn't get right in 1999 that we are suffering from?
Very good question. Not just not getting it right since 1999. There are things we have not gotten right since 1960. So following independence, Nigeria is a multinational, multicultural, multi-religious, multi-ethnic country. Now, we have not decisively, tried to craft a nation state out of this multinational entity.
Is it possible?
Of course, that's what nations like America did. That's all nations that are multi in these different dimensions I mentioned. That's the way they craft nation. A nation state is crafted. So that you look at those things that are common to the different, they are always common. I mean, we're all human beings. There is one human race. So there are sufficient commonalities that we can identify. And once you bring those to the fore, you elevate them to become what we call core shared values. That we can ignore the differences, we can put those things aside and focus on those set of shared core values that we all agree on, that the man in Sokoto will be willing to die for, the man in Lagos will be willing to die for, the man in Calabar, in Ayoola. Those things that bring us together. We have not done that with any determination to build that nation state. Okay. And that's why it's been difficult to even talk of national interest. Because national interest more often than not is That's the interest of a regime or interest of a group or interest, that has been the problem.
Okay.
One of the problems.
Let's talk about the Southwest region. Specifically, are there challenges you've seen confronting, security-wise, confronting the Yoruba race?
Well, the challenges confronting Yoruba race are also confronting every part of Nigeria.
There's no peculiar, there is nothing special.
Nothing really peculiar, but of course, when you talk of is cause and effect issue. A cause may be the same, but the effect may differ from place to place. Okay, because the Yoruba, we have so much promise from the beginning. I mean, with leaders like Baba Ayoola who set a very high pace for the Yoruba people and made us many firsts in many areas. You find that the Yorubas feel they've been slowed down by the peculiarity of the things happening in Nigeria. And not only that, it has also affected, I talked about the Omoluabi ethos. The decadence in the general society has also affected us. So you see the Omoluabi ethos is also dwindling in the younger generations. The issue of character, ethics, and values that we take very seriously. I remember in those days, your parents will always tell you, run to your humanity, won't she? That's to remind you that, look, the family's name is at stake. You must always remember whose son you are and keep the family's name, the honor and all of that. Those kind of, societal values also have been affected. Then, of course, apart from that, because the Yoruba are also very highly endowed, intellectually, diplomatically and otherwise, and, in skills and all of that. Whatever policies that devolve from the top, we certainly have effect on how far we can realize those potentials.
Well, it appears the Yoruba race is one that is very, very sensitive. Okay, the Yorubas seem to have this attitude of, if it's happening elsewhere, don't bring it here. And that we saw, okay, the reactions that trailed the Owo massacre, the Gangan massacre and all that. Now, how do you think some of these can be forestalled beyond rhetorics of don't bring it near us?
Yeah, let me use this opportunity to appreciate our governors. I remember when they came out with the idea of Amotekun, it was really an ingenious one, and it shows again, the usual thing Yoruba is known for, being first in so many good things. That's one step. I think what I will advise, the Amotekun is good, great idea, but obviously we can see that we need something more
than Amotekun.
And what we need, we have several other components similar. I'm thinking of an integrated security system, self-defense, intelligence network system that takes into cognizance and brings into convergence the hunters, okay, the vigilantes, the different elements of OPC, the Agbekoya, all of those similar self-defense, components that we have. We bring them into a convergence, so there can be, coordination and
Give it a
leadership.
Look.
Well, the Amotekun is already a regional one. So, but bringing all of this into one, so that the efforts can be coordinated, and it will have a better punch than each one operating.
But legal torso, the issue of law. You remember the kind of Amotekun the Southwest governors had wanted to establish was one that would, give Amotekun in Oyo State, for instance, an opportunity to make incursion into Ogun State until the federal government said no, there is no law to back up such and all that. So that you would.
No, I'm not sure. That's part of the area that the federal government didn't agree with. The overlapping responsibility is not even a challenge. I think the lethality of that network, the amount of force they could be empowered to use, I think that's the major issue. But that still boils down to the issue of sub-national policing policy of the nation. Section 214 of the Constitution makes it clear that there shall be a police force. And if it has stopped there, maybe we'll have found a way around it. But he went further to say that no other force shall be established.
So that's
it closes the possibility.
It closes the possibility of having another one. So
and that's why we've been talking. Yeah, that's why we've been talking about restructuring. You know, I'm national chairman of Restructure Actualization Movement. It's one of the areas we've been, advocating, and I think the need for sub-national policing is already well underscored. I don't think anybody is in doubt as to the benefits that will come out of it. Some people out of some puerile argument say, governors will misuse it. Excuse me. I mean, that everything else can be misused. So if you use the argument of misuse or abuse, then you won't do anything at all. But there's nothing in the world that cannot be abused or misused.
So state police.
Yeah, so for me, not even beyond state, sub-national policing down to the level of the wards. That's what existed. That's what makes a federal state. Because we got into this centralized thing, we forgot that we are supposed to be running a federation. What makes it federation? That the federating unit have the freedom to do all of these things. And it has happened before. It's not a new thing. It's not as if it's strange. We are importing it from somewhere. That was what was wrong between 63 and 66. So it's not new, it's not strange.
What's your advice to the federal government in this regard? Because it appears the federal government does not really want to devolve the federal government is skeptical and all that as we wrap up.
Yeah, I like that. When I hear a lot of elites discuss the issue of restructuring, I look at the fact that they say it with respect to those who are in power now. But the truth is that we are all the same. The typical black man has a KBAC mentality. This kind of feudal mentality where you want to hold power all to yourself. You don't want to devolve power. You feel like you are shooting yourself on the foot if you devolve power. Everybody can say it. I can bet you some of those who are advocating restructuring that if you make them president tomorrow, they say, wait. When you remind them about the restructuring, they say, wait, we'll do it next year. Power is so sweet with us that we don't want to let it go. And because we've stayed in that state for so long, it's become increasingly difficult to develop power.
Let's wrap it up with this call for the debate as to whether citizens should be allowed to defend themselves or not. On the social media a few days ago, you see people going to church with guns and it's gone viral. It's very funny, but it underscores maybe what the people really want at this time. So, self-defense, would you rather have the government allow the people to bear arms? What's your own concept of self-defense?
Yeah, thank you very much. That's a landmark question because we have the example of the US staring us in the face right now. How Americans, particularly the Republicans, have jealously guarded that Fourth Amendment law to bear arms. And when you look at the system like theirs, as structured as it is, you can still see the fallouts of that policy. Now, when you now come home and imagine the porosity of our own system, the near zero system that we run, if you allow people to bear arms, how well can you? We have not even been able to solve the problem of having identity. If I ask you for your national ID now, not many people have theirs. For how many years we have been on it? So if you don't have national identity, then you allow people to bear arms. How do you track them? How do you know who's bearing what? Some of our houses and streets are not numbered.
But the difference between these criminals that are killing people at will and the people is just that.
It's a choice between the devil and the deep blue sea. Because if you say, okay, because of that, let people bear arms, are you going to have more problems or more solutions? I'm not saying as a thing is a utterly bad thing. No, but I'm saying there's a level of maturity and a level of functionality in the society that will enhance such a thing. For now, I don't advise. Yeah, we'll grow there one day when we can really account for one another sufficiently to be able to now allow such things to happen. Of course, self-defense, like you say, is a natural right, is a divine right, is an international right. Article 51 of the UN, defends it and all of that. But every right is usually implemented to the point of which is possible where you are.
And also a big thank you to you, retired General Harry Ayoola. Thank you so much for your time. It's been an interesting time with you on the program. That's why we're going to draw the curtain on the program today. I'm sure that our government has actually been enriched with all of these, that General has raised. Thank you so much once again for your time.
Thank you.
Day. We'll meet you on the program. Same time, same station. See you.